A ton of you have commented on my videos that it is getting harder to defend your base on ARK. Well, after thousands of hours and hundreds of base defenses, I'm creating this guide on how to defend your base in ARK. Hello Dodo crew and welcome back to another video on ARK Survival Ascended. Grab a bottle of water and let's get straight into it. Double door turret walls are currently pretty much the meta, as it is currently the most consistent and the most durable way of how to build defenses. Damage is split evenly between walls, and even if you destroy some turrets, most of the other turrets will continue shooting. You build it by placing a foundation, setting a fetch wall, adding a turret to the wall, and replacing the wall by a metal doorway. After you do this, you need to add an extra layer of walls by placing two foundations right in front of your turret, and then add double door walls as defenses. If somebody now tries to blow your turret, damage will be distributed between all layers of walls. Ground and terrain turrets in and around your base are a must-have. The problem with turret walls is that the wall can easily be blown by a cannon or taken down with tech if you do not own a force field. Placing turrets without walls and using the terrain is much better. Ground and terrain turrets are far harder to hit with a cannon and cannot be taken out with tech. Especially in caves, I would suggest not building tech turrets in narrow parts, as they can easily be shadow tanked. And I wouldn't build turret walls in general. Large walls are essential, and they look intimidating. They will scare most people away from even trying to attack you. But if you know how to do it, they are also destroyed in seconds. Choke points that you can't ride through are overall the best defense for your base. There's literally no easier way to defend your base than to look for a place that cannot be entered with creatures. That's why so many smaller and larger tribes build in red holes. Those that have crouch parts that you simply cannot get through with creatures are simply way too strong. This means that opponents have to find a way to soak your turrets as a player or to blow them up somehow. Cluster grenades and tech grenades are often used to blow them up, as they still do quite a bit of damage. Velos may not be strong, but unlike turrets, you can throw out as many of them as you want, and they will absolutely shred your enemies. This means that even if you have reached the turret limit, you can still place more Velos. If you level them in HP and stamina, they can basically shoot for an infinite amount of time, and your opponents have to clear all your Velos. This not only gives you valuable time, but you can also name your Velos, so that you know exactly where your opponent is. Velos are pretty much a no-brainer to tame in every run, because they're so easy to tame. As soon as you got tech, the most important setting on your turrets is player only. It works especially well for tech turrets. Player only turrets still shoot at enemies if they have mounted their creatures, and with that setting, all types of turrets, normals, heavies or tech, will be able to snipe players of their tames, although tech turrets work the best, as they do splash damage and hit players even if they are riding stegos, where heavies struggle a lot to hit them. If you place turrets in the right ratio, you basically place them in sets. You would place 20 techs, 10 heavies, 1 plant axe, a Tesla coil and a blade wasp tower, totaling in 33 turrets per set, meaning if you cap out your turrets, you got 99 turrets for 3 sets in one wall, meaning you got room for 1 additional blade wasp tower or a Tesla coil. For me, exceeding the turret limit was something pretty scary for a long time, but actually it's pretty simple. If you got walls in close proximity, you always need to build the wall in the center first. Cap it with 50 turrets, and if you now build a wall in front and behind that, both walls can house 50 turrets on their own. This means you can now place 150 turrets in an area where you could build only 100. Auto turrets, sometimes also called normals, are the first turrets you can craft. They can be crafted quite early on, from level 68 onwards, and use ARB as ammunition. They deal around 70 damage per shot and should not be used as your main defense, as they are quite easy to run down and soakers can destroy them super easily. Like all other turrets, they have a range of just under 75 meters, which can be increased to 125 meters with a few tricks. They can destroy projectiles such as rockets or explosives, and are your first line of defense. Heavy turrets, also known as heavies, are the superior version of normals and basically do 4 times as much damage, but also consume 4 times as much ARB. Apart from the fact that they can only be crafted at level 100, they are absolutely identical to normals except for their larger inventory, but should then also be used as your main defense. Until you can craft tech turrets. You can build these once you have defeated the Broodmother on Alpha and obtain the engram. It consumes 2 element shards per shot and causes splash damage to creatures, riders and players. However, it does not hit explosives. The advantage is that it causes extra damage to creatures such as rock elementals. Tech turrets are your main defense and should be included in every wall, tower or base. Plant X and Tesla towers are there in addition to your other turrets to apply slow, CC, blind, burn damage and armor reduction to your opponents so that you can kill them more easily when you're being raided. Your Tesla coils basically add some crowd control and let your other turrets deal some additional damage. If you place 2 Tesla coils, set 1 to bright mode and player and mounted for some additional slow. And set 1 to volatile mode, which helps to deal more damage to enemy soakers. Blade Wasps are the newest towers. Even though it's not quite as important in the current red hole meta, it can be useful in certain situations due to its abilities. The Blade Wasp tower only damages flyers, but at the same time slows them. It doesn't need line of sight and the damage depends on the maximum health of the creature it hits. So it deals more damage to flyers the more health they have. It is super effective against PTs and snow owls that bomb your towers, walls or turrets with rockets, if you can place it. Unfortunately, this only works in the upper world. You can build Fortnites for defense or attack. The goal of a Fortnite is to push your opponents back with turrets, so that it is more difficult for them to attack you. It is important that it shoots from above and has good foundation support. This means that turrets should hit soakers from above, so that riders die from the splash damage of the tags or the direct damage of the heavies. There are several Fortnite builds. If you want a video on how to build a Fortnite, write me in the comments. Vault drop your generators. Normal generators in particular, but also tech generators are your weak point. If they are destroyed, all your turrets are offline. And then it doesn't matter if they're fully capped, because they no longer shoot. Normal generators are one hit from basically all explosives. Therefore, drop your generators. Vaults are much harder to destroy and also make your base much harder to mesh and raid. If your opponent isn't far enough into the game to have tech turrets, then the best soaker is a rock elemental, as it takes basically no damage from normals or heavies. Tech turrets do significantly more damage to rock elementals, making them useless if your opponent is further along. But seriously, there is nothing better than a rock elemental if there are no tech turrets. Chicken running actually has nothing to do with chickens, but rather with Deinonychus and Terrorbirds. These 2 creatures are ideal for destroying your opponent's walls by running into them with rocket launchers. Just put on some good armor, equip yourself with rocket launchers, each with 1 rocket. Take some beer and battle tart with you to take less damage. And then rush into the wall as fast as you can and fire as many rockets as possible. This tactic becomes more effective the more players do it at the same time in a wall, as the turrets always need 1 second to realize when a player is dead. And although not all players will always get into the wall, it is usually enough if 1 manages it. This tactic is especially devastating in caves or 6x damage, as a single rocket can basically wipe out an entire tower on its own. Soaking is more boring but more versatile. You grab a creature with damage reduction, equip it with the best saddle you have and all the buffs you can find, and then stand in your opponent's turrets until they're empty. You want to use creatures such as Stegos, Trikes, Gasbags or Rock Elementals, as these also protect the rider when you go in accordingly. Explosives cause splash damage, which means that when a rocket hits, all turrets in its vicinity take the corresponding damage. This means that if you build in 6x damage, a single rocket can destroy all your turrets if they're too close to each other. It is best to have 2 foundation space between your turrets, as this is roughly the area of the splash damage caused by explosives. Turret towers are extremely important, and again I see how poorly built your turret towers are. Always pay attention to your foundation support, otherwise a single cannon can destroy your entire tower without even firing a single shot. The best thing to do is to get towers from Smarf, who likes pizza and actually builds really good towers that are easy to copy. Foundation spam is the easiest way to keep your opponents at bay. The further you can push your spam, the longer it will take your opponents to raid you, and the more time you will have to prepare and counter them. Whether you're raiding or being raided, the player with the most foundations is usually the one who wins the raid. And then there's cave damage or 6 times damage, which simply means that structures built in a certain area take more damage than if they were simply standing on the surface. If you're a solo or duo player, you want to avoid cave damage at all costs. This means that instead of selling rockets for a wall or foundation, you simply need 1 rocket for an entire tower. If you play on unofficial servers, there are often custom caves. These may be cool and look good, but under no circumstances you should build in these caves. Most of these caves are publicly advertised on Discord or their website, which means that everyone knows about this spot. And why would you build somewhere where no one even has to look for you? Because everyone already knows where you are building. Honestly, there is so much more, but I've tried to summarize the most important points in this video. If I have forgotten anything, please write me a comment. During my research, I saw that there are many other videos like this one, but honestly, the points are always the same. However, I will link a few good videos that you can watch as well. I hope you liked this video, and I'm thrilled to read if this video has helped you. Hit the like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and consider subbing to the channel. Alright, Frodo.